everyone. I'm Louisiana Wormer, and I am this year's In-League Training Committee Chair. So the reason I'm up here is to tell you a little bit more about our keynote speaker, Ms. Tenaya Wallace. She is an inspirational speaker and a communications strategist. She also created a Find the Why workshop that helps individuals and organizations connect the why they do what they do in order to improve personal satisfaction and increased productivity. I'm really excited that she's here, so if you could all please help me in welcoming her to the stage, Tenaya Wallace.
All right, I actually have a timer, like a stopwatch, so I know your president's gonna be excited about that. All right, let me push start on that. I am really excited to be here tonight because one, I love Junior League, and two, I am excited to find the why. We're gonna do this in two parts. So first I'm gonna tell a story about my personal journey to find the why. And then we're gonna do an exercise together, a workshop that is in 4 parts. So you're gonna look at your personal why, you're gonna look at why Junior League, you're gonna start on your why story, and then we'll start to make some commitments and investments to your why. So that'll be the structure for this little 45-minute session. All right, so I'm gonna be honest. Finding the why can feel like an elusive process. And I had an experience with that firsthand at the beginning of the year when I decided to run for Congress. And you would think that since I've done like a lot of research on this subject, and I've created a workshop to find the why, and I really have, I've helped like hundreds of people find their why. You would think that it would be obvious and easy, a breeze, for me to powerfully communicate why I was running for Congress. And honestly, that wasn't the case. I had a hard time sharing my why. When you're a political candidate, you get asked 2 specific why questions all the time by everyone. And they are, why are you the best candidate? And why should people vote for you? And I was actually clear on both of my answers. I didn't think I really was the best candidate, and I didn't care if anyone voted for me. Yeah, this was honest, but the answers actually frustrated people. They frustrated other people, especially men. Oh man, they didn't like those answers. And a lot of my friends and my supporters, they actually thought that I was the best candidate. And my pro bono political advisor, he really wanted me to win. But I was running a $5,000 congressional campaign. And I was running to engage in the political process. And engage it was my logo, it was my slogan, it was my mantra, you know, engage was everything. Winning wasn't my goal. Now, I wasn't unique at this moment in time in wanting to engage in the political process that happened for a lot of people after the presidential election in November. But at the time, I needed, really my work of continuing these Find the Why presentations, it didn't feel purposeful. I have a degree in political science, I have a master's degree in public policy, so I needed to get back to my political roots. And so I took this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be on the ballot with 24 other people, half of which were women, which was pretty awesome. And it was a 4-month campaign. It was a special election for an open seat in the heart of Los Angeles, the district where I actually grew up, to replace Javier Becerra, who I helped send to Congress in 1992 by voting for him when I got to vote for the very first time. So to me, this was a sign, right? And Tenaya, the purveyor of why. I ran a campaign under the assumption that engage was my why. Engaging was my why. And I was so wrong. I got that all wrong. Engage is a what. And running for office is a how. And that is why finding the why is elusive, because it can get tangled up with what and how. All right. I will tell you, I'm going to tell you this right. So there were signs along the way that engage wasn't my why, and I could have listened to these signs. One of them was when I was all ready to go out and walk precincts, right? I was going to go out and knock on doors and talk to constituents. And I'm standing in my kitchen and I just start crying. Like I lost it. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I running for Congress? This just is ridiculous. And so I gave myself a talking to and I said, look, Tenaya, the reason why you are running for Congress is because you said you're running for Congress. Like, that's it. Stop asking why. And so I give that to you as a gift because, you know, sometimes just keeping your commitment, keeping your promise, keeping your agreement is enough of a why. It's enough of a why when everything seems really overwhelming and catastrophic and you're going to cry or already in the middle of sobbing hysterically. Just know that's enough of a why. All right. Right, so this whole idea, this going through Congress thing, what it helped me to see was that when you're in the middle of something, it's hard to sometimes see why you're doing it. And sometimes you need to get through it, like, you know, being president of Junior League Long Beach. Like, you have to get through it in order to know, why did I do this? And so now that I have gotten through it, and I'm no longer a congressional candidate, I can actually see why. And what I see is that my why was actually much more tied to my campaign message. And this was my message. We need to talk about what we're for and not what we're against. This is the refrain that I delivered clearly and consistently at dozens of candidate forums and in my interview with the LA Times editorial board. And especially, I know that was super fun. I was like, yay, look at me. And especially really when I was knocking on doors and talking one-on-one with voters, because there was this heightened and elevated sense of activism that was being, you know, driven by resistance. And I felt like it was a source of contribution to keep the conversation focused on what we're for. That felt purposeful. And it is those two things, right? It is purpose and contribution that are at the heart of finding your why. And so we're gonna look at that a little further tonight. But to wrap up this campaign, so Jimmy Gomez, who we all knew was gonna win this thing, he won. And after the primaries in April and then the runoff in June, Jimmy Gomez wrote something a little piece that got picked up at the LA Times. And in this article, he said that Democrats need to talk about what we're for and not what we're against. That's what he said. And he said that was the message he was gonna take to Washington. So, no, that's good, right? So my little $5,000, I don't care if you vote for me or not, campaign, actually made a huge difference in transforming the political narrative of the 34th Congressional District and possibly even beyond, right? I made a contribution. So now that it's done, I know why I did it. Tell a story. And now doing these Find the Why workshops feels purposeful again. So I want to dig into this idea of purpose because it really is a core function. I'm a big fan of purpose. I'm actually was rather militant about assuring that my career was around purposeful work. I studied sustainability. I worked for environmental nonprofit organizations. I designed a national program to save lives through organ donation and help hospitalized kids smile again. And it was really good work. And then I got cancer. And my priorities really shifted. Like, I didn't want my whole life to be about my work, and I really didn't care about causes anymore. And so I took a contract position with a company that's in the military-industrial complex, because I figured, like, there's no way I'm gonna care about that at all. But of course, and you guys know this, right? Like, you make a decision and it just sets you on the path for another purpose. And I got to this Fortune 500 company, and God, it was huge. And I noticed that all the employees were really miserable. And I was like, I got obsessed with the idea of employee engagement. That's a very for-profit term, right? Because I thought, well, how can I help make these employees happy? So I started doing all this research on employee engagement. And essentially what I found is that if you want to make employees happy, you have to tie them to a sense of purpose. I started reading, and everywhere I looked, right, business leaders were talking about this. We got Richard Branson, I mean, he knows what he's talking about. Ben and Jerry's, I think they've been talking about this for like decades, right, like literally decades. They say that employees are motivated and productivity is higher when they bring their hearts and souls as well as their bodies and minds. People are writing books on purpose. These are leadership books. This is work, stuff. And Jan Pontegraf talks about whether we enjoy our work often boils down to how it fits with our sense of purpose. There's a whole bunch of people doing research on this. So, Indeed, sorry. Indeed.com, like they're trying to get you a job, so they've been doing research on why people want to work and what makes them happy at work. And this is what they say, is our workforce is motivated not by money and status, but where the jobs and the work is meaningful. And then Deloitte University Press, these are my favorite. I love these guys, right? Engage employees with meaningful work or watch them walk out the door. Like, they're not gonna mince words. Like, this is what's up. And the research goes a little further, and it says that not only do you have to, is meaningful work, like, important and makes them happy, but it actually ties directly to productivity, to retention, and to profit. The other thing it ties to is actually just being happy, right? Leading a happy life. So have you guys watched this documentary yet? Called Happy on Netflix? Okay, watch it, it's on Netflix. I'm gonna tell you what it's about, so I'm gonna totally spoil it, but you should watch it anyway. But what it notes is that there's been a ton of research on depression and sadness, and not all that much investigation on what makes the human mind light up with joy. And so when it looked into this, it said, ultimately, happy humans are those who feel a sense of belonging and community. Those were the two things that happy humans need. And so the poorest of the poor, way happier than the richest of the rich, if they feel like they belong. There's a woman named Michelle Smith, I love her, and she's like a thought leader in the employee engagement community. And so what she did was she took this idea of happiness, human happiness hardwiring, and made some recommendations on how employers could make employees feel like they belong. And what she said is that the employers need to make people feel a part of something bigger, to connect, create opportunities to connect to each other, feel a sense of community amongst teams, and connect to the purpose of the organization. So when we all do this little workshop thing, right, I'm gonna ask you why Junior League Long Beach? Why Junior League? And I'm gonna ask you to remember this slide, because I propose that this is what you're getting out of being here and being part of this and being here tonight, are these elements of a belonging and community. All right, so, and then it comes back to purpose again, right? Purpose, all that around purpose. So how do you find purpose then? Well, apparently you find the why. Ha-ha! That's why it's called Find the Why. Purpose focuses on the deep root of behavior, not how things are done, but why. All right, but here's the twist. Here's the twist in the story. And I haven't really seen this in any research. This is my own observation after doing a lot of these workshops and getting people from all walks of life to look at their personal sense of why and understand what's purposeful to them. And what I have figured out is that every single one of us has the same why. What? Right? I've been searching for this thing, and it's like, we all got the same one. So what this, we'll look for yourselves, you'll look for yourselves. You can tell me if I'm wrong, that'd be awesome, because you're junior league, so you'll be investigative about this. But what I propose is that ultimately, your why is feeling like you are a valuable contribution. Your why really does come back to some level, some understanding of giving and contributing. Now, like, what you're going to contribute to and how you're going to contribute, that's going to be totally different for every one of us. Oh, do I have my fun slide? Ooh, I've got my fun slide. I forgot about this one, this new one, because I just made this realization. I was like, oh, it all wraps around. You know, I was really excited. It's all there. So then, you know, that's why it can all get kind of entangled and why it is all put together. So there you go. We don't even need to do the workshop because I found your why already. I found mine too. Yay! But we are going to get you guys involved. So you have a worksheet. It looks like this. If you guys don't have a pen, I did bring extra pens. They're in my bag. Do y'all have a pen? Everyone have a pen? You're junior league, right? Yeah. There's a box of pens in there. Okay, so part one of this workshop, and they're going around with pens, so just put your hand up, there's the thing, right? Okay, so this is your personal why. So this is the first quadrant, is we're gonna look at the personal why. So I put these 3 questions up here just as like starting points for you. So I'll use myself as an example. For me, I care about my health. Honestly, you know, I don't have any choice anymore. Like, I have to care about my health. I didn't care about it before, but now there's no choice. And so I have to make decisions in my life that allow me to prioritize my health. I care about raising loving, independent children. I always joke that I don't really care if they know anything, but if they can make their own sandwiches and do their own laundry, oh, I'm done. I'm out. I care about having a good relationship with my husband. I care a lot about that. I care about staying connected to friends, so I make them a priority. I make time for my friends. I walk every like Tuesday and Thursday with friends and call people and stay connected. The next one is, so what you care about, whatever you answer for this, and you guys can start writing on your little worksheets too. I mean, we've only got 45 minutes, people. Sorry. I'm also gonna ask some of you to share, because I found it's better. I sometimes have you partner up and talk, but I'm gonna have a few of you raise your hands, so just get ready. So whatever it is that you're answering this, like what you care about, that's how you invest your time and energy. This second one may speak to you more. So when are you happiest? I'm happiest when I'm writing and speaking. And it took me a long time to figure that out. It really took a lot of investigation for me to say, when do I feel most filled with joy? So tonight being here with you guys, you know, this is like heaven for me. This is what makes me happy. And then I feel my purpose is. I feel purposeful when, or I feel my purpose is. You know, so those are sort of interchangeable. And again, this has taken me a lot of investigation to see what the purpose in life is. And one of them is to transform narratives. So when I was talking about, you know, like, we need to talk about what we're for and not what we're against. And then Jimmy picked that up, and I saw that it transformed the narrative. There was another woman running for Congress with me. She said the same. She started saying the same thing. The Green Party candidate, who was this very, he was a funny guy. He was amazing. But he would be very negative, he used to be very negative at the beginning of the campaign. And then as soon as I started talking about this 4 thing, he switched his conversation. He switched his narrative. So I know, like, in that 4 months, that I made an impact on other people who are going to take leadership roles or are already in leadership roles. So transforming the narrative is part of when I feel purposeful. And then the other one is helping people connect to their sense of purpose and create channels for people to create channels for their personal power to inspire. So helping people to inspire. I always joke that my purposeful work was driven by my name. My name's Tenaya. It rhymes with papaya, the fruit. But it's actually a lake in Yosemite National Park. Like, it's this gorgeous glacier-fed, crystal-clear lake. And the lake was named after the last chief of the Awanishi tribe of Yosemite Valley. So I was like born to do purposeful work. Like, I would feel guilty if I wasn't trying to be purposeful in my life, because I have a lot to live up to. But looking at where that drive from purpose comes from, and for a lot of people it is family, your work, your experiences, but I'm gonna say that at the end of the day, that purposeful why comes from making a valuable contribution. So as you're filling out your quadrant, you can also look at, so if you agree that that is a why for you, then looking at how you like to contribute and in what form you're contributing, what you're contributing to and how you're contributing. So does anyone want to share their personal why? Just whatever comes to you. There really are no right answers. There's a wrong answer, but no, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. There's no wrong answers. Come on, somebody. Yes? You want to stand up? Just a quick sec.
My happiness.
Good. And where do you think what is one place where you feel you really derive your happiness?
I think at work.
Okay? And does your work feel like a contribution?
In a way, I think so, but maybe not to somebody else.
And why does work feel like a part of your happiness?
Because I feel like I'm part of the family.
Yeah.
Our family, and my coworkers and I it feels more like a family.
Mhm.
It's really so weird. But
Yep, belonging in community, right? Belonging in community. There's a sense of happiness in there. Not every work is like that, so you're blessed. That's awesome. Thank you. That's perfect. Excellent. So that goes back to it, because at work you can feel that sense of belonging in community. Anyone else? Where do you feel purposeful in your life? Where do you think a sense of happiness derives from? Hmm?
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm a teacher. I teach the children.
Yep.
But-
You know, the children are our future. Teach them well.
yeah. So I do feel purposeful at work, certainly. There are definitely some kids where I just try to get as much into them as I can in the short time that I see them. But often the things that they say make it clear that at least I've made a little bit of impact,
Mhm.
even if it doesn't seem like it from their actions. But yeah, I would say that's what gives me some purpose.
Yeah, because you're contributing.
Never.
And then every once in a while, you're like, oh wow, they got that contribution. They actually listened, or they learned, or they changed the way that they were interacting with somebody else, or they thought differently about themselves, right? Only a little bit. Oh yeah, well that's the same as being a mom. I don't know if I'm doing it right, half the time I'm pretty sure I'm not. But they can actually make a sandwich and do their laundry, so. Anything else? Okay, because this is the point, because I don't really care about your personal why. I care about why Junior League Long Beach. That's really why I'm here. So I'm going to tell you, there are a couple of whys when it comes to any kind of company why. So this is when it says connect to the company why, this is the organizational why. So there's the official why, the communicated why, and the purposeful why. So your mission statement, I'm going to read this to you guys. Your vision, the Junior League of Long Beach is a thriving organization of dedicated women who create and perpetuate greatness. Oh yeah, that's amazing! Create and perpetuate greatness, right? That's contribution. The Junior League of Long Beach is an organization of women committed to promoting volunteerism, developing the potential of women, improving the community through the effective action and leadership of trained volunteers. Its purpose is exclusively educational and charitable. Junior League of Long Beach reaches out to women of all races, so that's kind of the how, right? Like your what is the programs promoting volunteerism, developing the potential of women, improving the community through the effective action and leadership of trained volunteers. But there probably is a way that you talk about Junior League, right? When your friends are like, really, Junior League again? Weren't you just there? Aren't you always doing something for them? Right? When people ask you about what you're doing here, you probably don't say this. Oh, well, what we're doing is we're improving the community through effective action. What you say is something like, I really feel like it's a place where we can make a difference. Or I feel seen, heard, and developed as a woman leader, right? There's something in there in how you communicate the why of Junior League Long Beach. I heard sisterhood as one of the things in here. And really this is why, as Christy said, why does Junior League Long Beach matter? Why does it matter? All right, so that can include the things you love most about being part of the organization. And it is what you mention to your friends and family when you talk about being part of this group. So think for a second about your communicated why, and just write something down on your paper. The third thing, as I keep talking, because I've only got 45 minutes. The third thing, and this was really important to me, when I worked in the military-industrial complex, the light on the dark side I tried to find on a daily. And I don't really remember what the mission of the company was. It was something about innovation. They were all about innovation, like technology and innovation and stuff like that. But when I saw a lot of their social responsibility programs and a lot of what the employees were actually spending their time, their volunteer time on, I created for myself a why for the company that felt purposeful to me. And that why was that this company was making the products that made sure the men and women serving our nation come home. See, it makes me cry every time. Like, I get touched, moved, and inspired by a mission that they have no idea is their mission. I just made that up. But I made that up because that helped me feel purposeful at work. So we started this Red Shirt Friday program where everyone would wear a red shirt to remember everyone deployed and connect back to that sense of purpose, right? To tie back to the fact that we were bringing men and women home as veterans, and then we were investing in those veterans. And that felt incredibly powerful because almost, who here has a veteran in their life? Right? We all do, everyone. And so it was something that really combined and connected. Now, with you guys, I don't know that you need to make up a why for Junior League because its basis and foundation is really pretty powerful and pretty purposeful. But what is it that you see about why you participate in Junior League Long? Why are you here tonight? To learn. Perfect. Because there's an opportunity to expand yourself, expand your horizons, get invested in, get mentored, explore new opportunities. You know, learning and growing is essential. We like that. It makes us happy. It makes us feel purposeful. Perfect. Someone else? You can just call it out like that. That's fine. You don't have to stand up and everything.
To give back.
To give back. Perfect. Perfect.
To have a good time.
To what?
To have a good time.
To have a good time. I was joking that there was no line for the food and like a really long line for the drinks. And I knew I was at Junior League. Yeah, totally. To have a good time. And I would say also that you guys, when you're having a good time, it isn't just about fun. It's about building community. It's about feeling belonging, right? That there is in your fun an opportunity to give back. And there's an opportunity to learn. So yeah. Anything else?
Share experiences.
Share experiences. Great. And that, you know, I feel like that kind of comes back to this idea of a community that where you feel a sisterhood and a connection and a shared sense of moving through life together, that you know somebody's got your back. that you're learning together, that you're giving together, that you're having fun together. And having a place and a space for that is really just, it's so magical. And it's so important. Great. Anyone else? Okay, cool. Do you feel like connected to Junior League right now? Like a sense of, yeah, dude, this is it. This is the launch of, of your year, right? Like get to this. Let's learn. Let's give back. Let's have fun. And let's be there for each other. Those are really 4 powerful things that you are going to be doing at every meeting and in between, and with your committees and with the community. That's awesome. Totally inspired. Okay, so here's the thing, is that this is great, and you are inspiring, and I love you all, but no one knows this stuff until you tell a story about it. Storytelling really is the most transformational thing we can do. A lot of our paradigm shifts in humanity have come from a powerful story. And each of you sitting here tonight has a powerful story of why you chose to be part of this organization. And those powerful stories are what's going to keep people engaged, right? And coming to meetings and being like, oh, I don't know if I want to go tonight, right? Yeah, you do. You do. And it will help you with the recruitment that you're always looking for, right? Like expanding this opportunity to more and more women in our community so they get this magic that you've already found. They're not gonna get it. I mean, I love your website and all, but honestly, they're not gonna get it from that. Like, just that. Right? They're not gonna go on and be like, oh yeah, I totally love this. They're gonna get it from the interpersonal communication and from hearing the stories. I'm not, like, I love your website. Like, no one to I know, I really do. I love it. No, like, nothing, like, I really do. Like, I found everything I needed, I got access to the, no. But, adding in the stories of your Junior League members. Last year there was a Why Junior League LA hashtag that they did, right? That was like a whole program and campaign that they did. And it was part of their sort of recruitment efforts as well as retention, engagement, keeping people involved and activated. So I want you to look, and on your little quadrant, I want you to just write down a couple of these things. So here's how a story can go. One day, something happened. Like one day, somebody shared with you what Junior League was. One day, you felt overwhelmed by the idea of learning something new. One day, you felt unsure of how you were going to give back, and you felt like you really need to. Something happened, and when that something happened, like when you first heard about Junior League, or it can be even better, not the first time you heard about Junior League, but really the time when you got that this organization means something, that this organization is purposeful and the work that you're doing is so meaningful and magical. So it could be a time when you were participating on a committee or doing a project and you saw how it contributed to somebody else. You saw how you made a difference in somebody else's life. Or you learned a new skill, or made a new friend that'll be your lifelong friend. And it was in that moment that you felt something. You felt good, you felt powerful, you felt invigorated, you felt, I don't know, what did you feel? You can also struggle with something. This often happens with, you're not sure if you wanted to join Junior League, right? Like, you weren't even sure. It seemed like a lot of commitment and maybe a lot of time, or maybe somebody asked you to be part of a leadership position, and that really challenged you, that really confronted you. And do you have that much time? You felt a little overwhelmed. You weren't really sure that that's how you wanted to spend your days. And then you took the job, or you took the position, or you joined the committee, or you took on the project, or you led that super fun thing, right? And it was a big project, and you felt something. You felt something. You saw something. You connected to people in some way. And when you felt that thing that you found, then you now know or you believe something different. So a good hero story is like you go through a journey, right? Like I decided to run for Congress. I thought I knew why. I didn't know why. It made me sad. And I found myself crying in my kitchen. And then I did it anyway, right? And through the end, I now believe that we all have the same why, which is to feel a source of contribution to the world. So this Junior League story is something that you're not going to have tonight, but I really would encourage you because it's going to help your leadership. It's going to help every single person here, and it's going to help to develop out the next generation of Junior League members. I also think it would be pretty powerful if you went to these legacy women who've been part of this and find out their Junior League story and their journey as well, because that's pretty touching and inspiring. All right, so stories matter. Tell them your stories. So just take some time and think about it. This is the most important thing, though. I'm checking my timer. All right, this is the most important thing. This is what you are going to commit to doing this year. Because it's really great that you guys are all here at the first meeting of the season. And it's really a good practice to start setting an intention for the year. So I know that on the website, which is very easy to access, and it's very clear, that your impact statement is that the Junior League of Long Beach will work with community partners in Long Beach to combat bullying through character development and life skills programs for 5th to 8th graders and their caregivers that encourage relationship building and respect for self and others. So if you guys didn't know what you were up to, that's what you're up to. That's awesome. That is profound and transformational. That is a source of contribution to your community. And so I want you to really look and write down a couple things in this other quadrant of how you are going to help fulfill on that promise. Because that promise isn't going to get fulfilled just by drinking wine. Maybe partly. Because when you guys have fun and you come together and you feel a sense of community and belonging, that's when you guys have really good ideas. And then those ideas become a way that you can support each other and learn something new and feel like you're giving back. But this is the big idea here. The big idea is to combat bullying through character development and life skills program for 5th to 8th graders and their caregivers that encourage relationship building and respect for self and others. How are you guys already doing that? Give me some examples of what you guys have been working on, because I know this isn't, the program isn't, or this concept isn't new for this year, right? This is an ongoing thing. Yes?
We're teaching kids how to talk about it and giving them a forum to feel free to talk about it.
Great. And how have you contributed to that?
I participated in I participated
In the forum?
Yeah.
In setting it up and being there?
no, in teaching the class.
And teaching the class. Look at
Yeah.
that. She actually taught the class. That's a pretty big way that she contributed to that. That's great. That's great. And is that a commitment that you're going to continue for this Junior League year?
No.
Okay. I don't know.
But only because I'm committed somewhere else.
Yeah. But and what I'm guessing though is that your commitment was, or may be still, is to make sure that whoever is taking on these commitments has all of the information and work that you've done,
Yes.
right? That's your commitment.
Absolutely.
Is to do the work and then pass it on so that others can do the work too.
Yes.
Because that's what you guys are about. You don't have to do the same thing year after year, but once you've done it, then you help somebody else do it well. Great.
Correct.
Does that feel
Absolutely.
reasonable?
Yeah.
So that's your commitment. Your commitment is to, and I would say you're probably even committed to being available and accessible as a mentor to the people who are leading and taking on this project.
Yes. If you want anything that I have to give, I'm here for you.
Right, she's here for you because you guys are all here for each other. Right?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
I know that about you. Like it's really like one of the things that is so special about this organization. So has anybody else done something or continue or is going to take on something that specifically goes to that project or that purposeful goal for your junior league? Because that sets you guys apart. Right? There's a lot of junior league chapters, and not all of them are taking this on. Is there? Yeah.
I think we're gonna really work to expand our reach, to get some work with different community partners, also find some legislation that also maps what our attack areas. We're talking about legislation and doing, having a broader reach for the kids in Long Beach. It's kind of our goal.
Okay. So what she's saying is that she needs help with, right? Like what a priority is for people to start to identify community partners. If the goal is to expand community partners, because that's right in here, right? To work with community partners in Long Beach. So each of you guys should be thinking about who a community partner might be and giving that, to leadership or finding the pathway to do that. And to know that community partners is a goal. And then if the other part is legislation, right? And so you guys are active in legislation. So if you have ideas for who could carry the legislation or what specifically the legislation might be, those are elements, when you read the newspaper, right? And there's pieces of like, what's up with Sacramento? What are they doing? And there's something that connects to this, then it's your opportunity and responsibility to provide that feedback. Even if you're not the one calling up the legislator, it's about all having an eye towards the fact that you're up to this one big, audacious, powerful, meaningful goal. And so every little part of that helps. Now, are there other areas that you've made a commitment for this year that you guys want to share? What other areas have you made a commitment for this junior league year?
Training our members.
Training your members. Great. Training your members. And so, looking at in training, what do you need for that training? And really, asking everyone so everyone can be part of that training. Like to train our members, we need, I have a bias, but I think maybe you need member stories. Haha. Right? Like member stories could actually be helpful in training. What it was like to take on different leadership roles, what people struggled with and what they got, the value that they got out of it, to really step up and help train the next generation. That could be wrong, but asking for what you need, right, to train your members. Anybody else taking on like something you're excited about, you're inspired about, you're like, yeah, I can take this on this year.
Fundraising.
Fundraising, that's right. And she's got the fun in the fundraising too, right? That's part of what you guys do. You do well, you have fun, and you fundraise, and that means that you're also giving back, and you're able to do more and more work within the community. So taking on big fundraising goals is something that you're doing and you'll ask for help with, right? Yeah, from everybody, that's right. And be specific when you're asking for help, right? This is what we need. And I know you guys you do that, and you'll answer the call. So part of what you might be up to this year, literally, like the only thing that you might put in this little quadrant, is answering the call. Right? So every time somebody stands up here and says, okay guys, we're writing cards today, you answer the call. And you write a card. And when they say, hey, we're doing a fundraiser and you need to, buy your tickets, you answer the call. Because that is a way that you can continue your relationship and your commitment to the work of Junior League. So just showing up and answering the call may be what you're up to this year. All right, not that I want to push you into taking on more. I know how that goes. All right, so that's all for me. That's all I've got, because I'm done, right? I'm done. I'm off the stage, lady. But I want you guys to keep thinking about these work projects and keep working together and really keep tying back to the real understanding that you are making an incredible contribution to your community. Thank you guys.